Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Chris.
We're pirates, and we don't play by the rules.
Whoa, we got Vince.
I'm going to be the king of the pirates.
Are you now? And I'm Kia. Welcome to the show. We're reading some pirates. Have we ever read any pirate stuff on this show? I feel like I don't remember a lot of pirates.
No?
We're drawing a blank.
We never read like Deadpool Illustrated Treasure Island or anything like that.
No, we did not. And I would say this might also be our first true manga that we're reading on the show. We are reading One Piece, Volume 1, Romance Dawn. Jumping on the hype bandwagon. We got a new Netflix show. It's one of the most popular manga in the world by Eichiro Oda. Been going for like over 1,000 volumes here. Who knows how many chapters that equates to.
It's 103 I saw is the most recent one coming out that's not out yet, in English at least.
Maybe like 1,000
episodes,
chapters, not 100.
Yeah.
Yes, not 100.
This volumes. Is like 8 chapters or 7 chapters, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, what is that? That's like 25 years, 100 volumes. That's like 4 a year. Shit,
going on like wild. Yeah. And we have done some manga on the show before. It's been mostly Zelda and Mario. Have we done anything that's not Zelda or Mario manga?
I wanted to do the Persona manga, but I felt that might be a bridge
it's all video games. Yes.
Yeah, only video games. We did the only pirate content I can think of is Watchmen has the pirate story.
Oh, we haven't done Watchmen yet.
We haven't done Watchmen.
No.
We have.
My secret is that when we do Watchmen, you'll know the show's over.
That'll be our last long read. Yeah. Well, great. So we're jumping back into we're jumping into some proper manga here with One Piece. And then we are really jumping into our next long read here, Earth X. We did Earth X number 0 last time, which sucked. Don't go back and listen to it. We're going to jump into number 1 here, which is a little better. We'll talk about that later. But all right, One Piece. What is y'all's experience with One Piece? Have you read any at all?
No, all I know is that it has like a ton of episodes. That's the only thing I'd ever heard of it. And then it got like adapted and, all over my Netflix as like the #1 series. And, all the teens are watching it. And then all the One Piece manga or anime, the One Piece anime is like all over Netflix also. So that's all I know.
Yeah, all I know is I knew the character. I didn't know his name, Luffy, based on his straw hat and smile. And I was like, that's the One Piece boy. That's all I knew.
All right. I had not really read much. I know a lot of people who really love it. And I think a few years ago, I read like the first chapter. I thought that was all I read, but there's a few bits from chapter 2 and 3 that I definitely remembered. So I did read a little bit more than that. But, I just wasn't in the mood to kind of keep going and read a whole bunch of manga on my own time. Also, sometimes I will go back and forth saying manga and manga. I don't know. I just do. What's the correct way?
I don't know.
We are not the experts on this subject.
We are not the experts.
Why are you listening to this for translation?
Thank you for your download, person who Googled One Piece podcast. We appreciate your download, but we are coming at it the lens of Marvel and DC and superhero comics lapsed fans who are now looking at manga.
But we all love pirates. And I think
I'm fucking into this. I'm into this shit. Spoiler alert, I really like this One Piece thing. This might catch on. Who knows?
Yep.
I'm a tastemaker, as it were.
Folks, go out there and check out One Piece. All right, so let's just jump into it here. Chapter 1, Romance Dawn. We start with a little bit of a prologue with the beheading of Gold Roger, who is the current king of the pirates. But I guess not anymore. He's been captured. They behead him. His last words are that he left his treasure out there somewhere in the world. They don't actually call it the One Piece on this page, but it's called the One Piece.
So I was like, oh, this looks bright and colorful. This might be cool for my 9-year-old son. And then there's a beheading on page 1, and I'm like, okay, well, but also we were watching like Aliens at that age, so who knows?
It's fine. He can handle it.
He can handle it.
Yeah. And this has inspired this great era of piracy where more and more pirates are going out there to find this treasure. And then we get a 1 year ago thing. I don't know if it's 1 year ago from before this guy was beheaded, but it's also in the past because we're not going to stay in this timeline for too long. And we are in a small harbor village with a pirate ship that's about to set sail. And we meet this villager boy whose name is Monkey D. Luffy. His first name is Monkey. Can you believe that? I do love monkeys and I do love pirates.
You were quite the monkey guy. I'm surprised you weren't all over this.
I was. So he wants to be a pirate, but he's just a little boy. Nobody's taking him seriously.
And he can't
talks
swim, right?
He
Yes.
can't swim either. And the pirate captain, red-haired Shanks, who was kind of his pirate friend, but, in the way that a grown-up can be friends with a little kid who wants to join his crew, and he's like, yeah, man, we call you Anchor because you can't swim. Who ever heard of a pirate who can't swim?
He also wears a shirt that says Anchor, which is a weird thing to do.
That is a weird thing to do. He says, all right, maybe in 10 years when you grow up, you can join my crew, but for now, have some milk. And he goes, thanks. And he drinks the milk. He's like, a real pirate would never drink milk. He's like, oh my God, I've been tricked. Terrible.
And Luffy has that like classic like anger that's just funny, just like, like steam coming out of his head kind of character, like a little tiny guy.
He's also, at some point throughout he stabbed himself in the face. He's got a little Band-Aid under his eye. He stabbed himself to prove how tough he is so he could join the crew.
There's some tonal whiplash in this book in terms of the violence. I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is all ages. This is, and then there's like stabbing. And a lot of suicides. We'll get in later. But we'll get there later.
Yes. So then we have Makino. She's the tavern lady here. Brings Luffy some food. Luffy keeps putting it all on his treasure tab to be paid in the future when he is a famous pirate. I don't know why she is accepting this deal. Shanks says they're going to stay at this village for like 2 or 3 more trips. Then they're going to move on, head to a different village, make that their new base and kind of keep moving on. So Luffy's goal is to learn to swim before they're gone forever. And then the Scourge of the Mountains enters this tavern here. It's a whole clan of mountain bandits, and their leader is Higuma the Bear. He's kind of a menacing looking guy. He talks shit about all the pirates. I've never actually seen pirates before. Y'all all look terrible. He says, we're not here to make trouble. We just want to buy 10 barrels of grog, and we'll injure the bare minimum. Oh my goodness. And Makino was like, sorry, I just served the last of it to these pirates. And Shank is like, hey, man, sorry. I feel guilty that my crew drank all of it. Offers an unopened bottle to Higuma, who smashes it on Shanks' head. Oh, my goodness. This guy is no good. Just one bottle's not enough. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's very clear that this is a bad guy. And I think in general, this book always does a great job of showing you how bad people are in kind of caricaturistic ways. And it works. And he's like, yeah, 1 bottle is not enough for me. Look at this bounty on my head. It's 8 million. He says 8 million berries. I assume it's 8 million yen. This is not the real world, though. I don't know. 8 million. Is berries their currency?
I don't know.
This is the golden age of piracy, and this is the red-haired pirate or whatever. But yeah, who knows where this is?
Who knows? But he's killed 56 people. If you're smart, you'll sail away from here, and I'll never see you again. Shank starts cleaning up. And Higuma's like, oh, you like cleaning, huh? Makes a bigger mess before he leaves. What a jerk. But then all the pirates and Shanks, they all kind of laugh it off. And Luffy is just pissed. He's like, what are y'all doing? That guy just embarrassed y'all. You're a disgrace to pirates if you're just laughing when you get treated like that. And Shanks just says, man, chill out. You'll understand when you're older. I just got some grog on me. It's fine. Killing doesn't make a man. Says all that sort of stuff, and Luffy storms off to find a real role model. Then Shanks grabs his arm to keep him.
I like the cuteness of that. I think that's the anger and the purity of being a child that way.
It is, yeah. Shanks grabs his arm to keep him from walking off, and his arm starts stretching as Luffy walks away, and Luffy's like, what the fuck is going on with my arm? And it turns out, Shanks is like, hey, that devil fruit that we got in the treasures, is it still there? And Luffy's like, no, I ate it for dessert. And it's this secret treasure of the sea, the gum fruit. And if you eat it, your entire body becomes rubber. And you can never swim for the rest of your life because you're made of rubber. Which is, take the good with the bad here. So
I guess that also, we skipped over at the beginning. Luffy was like, hey, pirates, look what I can do, and stabbed himself in the face. And the pirates apparently thought it was like a bit or something, but he just can't be hurt because he's a rubber man.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, okay, I don't mean to tell someone who's written 103 volumes and has written a very popular book how to write a book, but There is no fucking focus on him eating this fruit in the previous 20 pages. There's not a single panel to be like him being like, oh, what's this? Ooh, this looks delicious. Fucking nothing. There's like one panel of him being like eating a fruit in the background.
But he's already eaten the fruit though. Because like I said, he stabs himself
at the beginning. I'm very confused because there's no like pretext of like, yeah, we've got this awesome treasure. It's called the devil fruit. Oh man, that fucking kid ate it. There's none of that. It's very, I mean, do we need to know? The kid can stretch. Who gives a shit how he got it? Like it really doesn't fucking matter. But
he's got mutant powers.
It is a little. Every once in a while, there was a bit of like, A, with the tonal whiplash, like you mentioned earlier, and B, with and I think that is slightly a trope of manga. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like I see it a lot where it's like, oh, by the way, this happened. And I do see that a lot every now and then. So maybe that's a thing. It happens a few more times throughout this book. Just something I noticed there.
And I think black and white also makes it hard, like with the line work to sometimes know, like, oh, we're in like the past, or like put focus on this kind of thing in a weird way. Like you have to use other tools.
And there is a little bit of tonal whiplash here as well, because it's everyone is pissed that Luffy ate this fruit. They're like, oh my god, you'll never be able to swim for the rest of your life. And then in the next panel, he's like joyfully going through the village, showing off his stretchy face to the fishmonger. And I needed just a little bit more of like a sitting in that moment. You know what I mean? But he's a little kid.
We gotta move. We gotta get him out of this island. This is all tutorial mission. We gotta get to level 1.
We gotta get moving. He meets the mayor over there as well, who is just like, hey, don't go joining the pirates. That'd be an embarrassment to our village here. You're a freak, and the village doesn't need more idiots. Okay. So
what does the mayor want here?
I'm not quite sure what he wants. He just doesn't seem to like Luffy at all. So then Luffy is hanging out with Makino at the tavern, and Higuma and his crew come back. There's no pirates there, so they just kind of sit down and demand drinks. And then we see Makino rushing to the mayor, saying, "Mayor, we have a problem. Luffy started a fight." And his body's made of rubber. Higuma's having a great time beating him up. They're thinking they could sell him to a freak show. I guess Luffy started running his mouth is what got him into trouble here. We don't really see exactly what he said. The mayor shows up and begs them not to hurt Luffy. Luffy still won't shut up. He's demanding an apology. And Higuma's like, this brat started it. Then Shanks and his crew show up, and we get a nice big fight here. He's like, yeah, you can pour grog on me, but you can't hurt my friends. They wipe out a bunch of the bandits. Shanks has like 2 main dudes in his crew who I feel like we'll probably see again later in the series. There's the big dude with a cigarette who puts it out in someone's face. And there's the rounder fella in stripes who's always eating a big chicken leg. They seem like nice recurring characters, maybe. So then Higuma smoke bombs out of there and hides out on a boat out at sea. And he brought Luffy as a hostage. But he doesn't really need him anymore. Dumps him overboard, has no use for him. And then a giant, like, dragon eel thing in the water shows up.
Flotsam and or Jetsam from The Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah, the boss is on a roll.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like if you look at his face in this panel.
Mm-hmm. They really do with the kind of chubby cheeks that they've got there. Yeah. And
Chris, you're appealing to everybody. So let me paint you a picture. Little Mermaid. Yep, got it.
And this big old monster eats Higuma the bear. And Shanks shows up in the water to save Luffy. And he like talks to the monster and tells it to leave, and it leaves. Okay. And Shanks also lost his arm somehow. How did that happen?
I guess the monster bit it, but we didn't really see what happened.
That's another case of like really just didn't see what happened. It's just like, oh, yep, lost my arm. Oh well.
These things happen.
Things happen. I thought it maybe was in the fight and he ran over to help, but no, I think the monster makes more sense. The narration then explains that Luffy realized now why he was too young to go out to sea, because he was a little bit of a burden, caused Shanks to hurt himself. But he did realize how great of a person Shanks was, vowed to be just like him. And then it's time for Shanks and his crew to move on. Luffy vows he's going to be a bigger pirate than them. He's going to be king of the pirates. And Shanks gives him the straw hat, says to keep it safe for him. And then the narrator tells us that Luffy's adventure begins 10 years later from this very spot. And we just jump 10 years later right then and there. Luffy's setting sail. Everyone's watching him go out on his boat. He runs into that sea monster again, but he gives him a big, he calls this move the Gum Gum Pistol, where he just punches him in the face with his big stretchy arm.
Yep. Press X to use the Gum Gum Pistol.
It's a good name for a move, I tell you right there. If
there's several, there's some One Piece Musou games on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I want to play one. I bet they'd be fun.
It sounds fun.
Gum Gum Punch, Gum Gum Rocket. And his first thing, he decides he's going to find a crew and get a pirate flag. And that was chapter 1. Chapter 1, I should say, was much longer than all the others. It was about 50 something pages long. Yeah, compared to the rest, which were like about 20 something, about double size here. Even more.
It looks like the rest of them are about 22 to 24 pages.
Yeah. And it's like the issue 0 equivalent, right? Where this is all set up. It obviously we will meet Captain Shanks and the first mate at some point, I think, because they set them up too much to never bring them back.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't come back later in this volume here, but I'm sure we'll see.
I don't feel like you get 103 volumes without some back characters.
Well, what if they haven't gotten there yet and they're still waiting on it?
Oh my god,
that'd be crazy. Wow. That would be insane. No, I mean it's like The Simpsons. Like eventually you're gonna have a Groundskeeper Willie episode. Like it's gonna happen.
They move in, yeah. But yeah, this is when we learn what a regular story arc of this is. Which I will say, I know you guys were high on it. I got a little tired of it by the end. By the beginning, I was okay with it. But it's like they meet a new guy. They don't want to be a pirate. But Luffy's like, I want you to be a pirate.
That's fair. I feel like it does have. Yeah.
That's how my Persona 5 manga is. It's like we meet a new friend and recruit a new party member, and we solve their problem. It's like Mass Effect, I guess, for people who aren't in the Persona. It's like I met a friend, I solved their problem. Now they're part of my crew. Rinse, repeat.
Well, Baldur's Gate 3, I think probably does this. I haven't played it, so I don't know.
There's a little bit of we'll get through.
I like people making friends, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Friendship is great.
Friendship is magic.
So chapter 2 is called They Call Him Straw Hat Luffy. He is on a beautiful voyage, and he's thinking, oh, who thought it could end so soon? Because it's hard to believe I'm getting sucked into a giant whirlpool. What am I going to do? And we cut away to a whole different scene. We meet Lady Alvida, and she's the captain of her own pirate ship. I will say throughout this book so far, I love the various designs of people's pirate ships. Hers has hearts all over the masts, a little like a goose with hard eyes on the figurehead. Her flag is a profile view of a skull with a big heart on it. Very nice.
Did your version have the how to draw pirate flags?
It did. I had all that stuff in between the chapters, which is always nice. Very nice to see. And we only see her eyes, and this book does this a lot with villains, where we just see them little bits at a time. We see her eyes, we see all the jewels on her fingers, we see her big iron mace, and she's mad at her crew for not making the ship clean enough. And we reveal her. She's like a big, kind of looks like a cowgirl a little bit, with a hat and a pistol tucked into her belt. And her main assistant, who we learn is the cabin boy here, seems to be this kid named Kobe. A little nerd wearing glasses, and he is now on the mainland, kind of unloading stuff. He found a barrel of rum that washed up on the beach, and he takes it to the storehouse where 3 other goons are like, "Oh, we should drink this. The captain's never gonna find out, right, Kobe? Right, Kobe?" And turns out it's not rum. Luffy was sleeping inside, and he busts out of it. And he even talked about "Oh, so what a great nap, whatever." And then Alvida shows up. The captain, she's pissed. She heard somebody say that they were sleeping. And, the goons explain, but Luffy and Kobe have run off. And she thinks, oh, my God, somebody has sent a famous bounty hunter after me. It's got to be Roronoa Zola. That's, of course, who it is. And Kobe's in on it. He brought this guy here in a barrel. Then we see Luffy and Kobe kind of out in the woods talking to each other. Kobe has been building a boat to try and escape these pirates. He just kind of got caught up in them and he can't leave. He says, "All right, Luffy, you can have it. It's hopeless for me. I'm never going to get away from them." Luffy talks about how he's going to be the king of the pirates, which Kobe's like, "That's wild. My dream is going to be of joining the Navy to fight the bad guys. So we're going to be enemies, but I'm still inspired by you." He's like, "I'm going to capture Alvito one day," right as Alvito shows up to hear that. And she gets pissed, of course. Luffy talks shit about her right then and there, and Kobe kind of starts to apologize until he's again so inspired that he talks shit about her as well. He says she's the ugliest old hag of all. No more cringing from now on. I'm fighting for my dreams. Alvida is, of course, livid. She attacks Luffy with her mace, which doesn't hurt him because he's made of rubber.
You know what she looks like to me, by the way? She looks like the Ma Brutal from Super Mario Odyssey, the lead bunny.
Oh, yeah. She does.
And she has a mace the Queen of Hearts Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland with a mace.
Is that probably where they're both borrowing from?
Probably.
Somebody at Mario team is just a big fucking fan of it. One Piece and copying. No, that makes more sense. Okay.
So she gets Gum pistoled by Luffy, knocks her out, demands that the other pirates give Kobe a dinghy. So they both set sail together, and he's like, "You know what? I might just try to get that Roronoa Zolo to join my crew." When I was reading this and thinking about it in my head and typing out notes, I kept saying Roronoa Zola because that rhymes, and I'm used to Arnim Zola from Marvel. So Zolo took me a while to get used to it.
Yeah. Every time the scenes with Kobe and these other pirates and everything, it always makes me think of Wind Waker, where it plays the goofy pirate music. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
That's what I always was hearing whenever it's just goofy pirate stuff, which there's a lot of.
Yes, there are a lot of goofy pirates throughout here.
But I'm happy.
Yeah, as a second chapter, it does give you a nice sense of what the book's kind of going to be for a little bit. Just getting into a more normal territory, meet a freak of the week kind of deal, and go from there.
Yeah.
Dare you call Kobe a freak of the week?
No, but I would say what's her name?
Big bad, kind of thing. Yeah.
Queen Alvida, Captain Alvida, and again, I'm sure she'll be back. Chapter 3, Enter Zolo, Pirate Hunter. Luffy is talking about getting Zolo to join the crew if he's a good guy, and Kobe is like, he's not a good guy. That's why he's in jail right now.
So they get you don't know about.
Kobe doesn't know.
Kobe's an idiot.
They get to the naval base town, and Luffy's like, "Hey, you actually got us to our destination." He's like, "Yeah, that's just it's what you do when you're on a boat. You should get yourself a navigator so you're not just aimlessly drifting." And they go get some food. They're deciding that they're going to go their separate ways after this. And Luffy remembers, hey, this is where Roronoa Zolo is imprisoned. And everyone in the restaurant panics at hearing that name. And they flip tables over. They're hiding.
It's all gasping.
He said Kobe's yeah, you can't say that name, dude. And Kobe's like, I saw a poster that said Captain Morgan's actually here right now. And everyone panics again. What? That's kind of weird. He's the leader of the Navy. Why would they be panicking about that? So they walk over to kind of the base part of the island where the Navy is stationed. Luffy,
which looks like, again, a video game references ahoy today. It looks like Assassin's Creed Black Flag to me. I infiltrated a lot. That's the pirate one. I infiltrated a lot of bases that look like this. So when Luffy's climbing the wall, I'm like, "Yep, it's time for some stealth." And then I'm like, "Man, a One Piece Assassin's Creed, that would be dope too." I'm on board again.
Or you just stretch your arms to stab somebody in the back.
Hell yes.
That'd be good.
We got $1 million ideas here, Ubisoft. Yeah. Go license a very popular anime manga. And attach it.
Ubisoft doesn't know what to do after Valhalla. This is the answer.
I think there's actually a new one that comes out this week. Finally, after
a new Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, Mirage. First one in 3 years. After Valhalla.
Cool.
I don't know what it's about though.
Never played one. It's probably on the desert.
Black Flag, the pirate one. That's a lot of fun. The Grease
all
one
right,
is
so
fun
so Luffy is like, all right, I'm gonna peek over the wall here, see if I can get my eyes on Zolo. Kobe's like, no, dude, he's gonna be like locked up deep in there somewhere. There's no way. He's too dangerous. And no, there's like a big open field there where they see him kind of tied to a stake. And Zolo sees them and smiles like, hey, kid, come untie me. Been here 9 days and I can't take it. I'll make it worth your while. I'll capture someone and give you the whole bounty. You can trust me. I'm a man of my word.
I like it that this is setting it up like he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Just because of like his lighting or whatever, but like nothing he's saying. I mean, we find out later he's not a bad guy. It's
He's
just
not
like,
at all.
They just are setting him up like, hey, come over here, kids.
Yeah. Although he's been there for 9 days, he must be a little delirious, probably not at his most, charismatic, make a good first impression kind of, But while they're discussing that, this little girl climbs over the wall and goes over to him because she made him some rice balls. And Zolo's like, I don't want them. Get out of here. And she kind of cries and then Captain Morgan's son, Helmeppo, shows up, who is a real shithead-looking rich little prick. And he says, you shouldn't pick on little girls. I'll tell my father on you. And Zolo calls him an idiot son living off his dad's wealth, which seems to be accurate.
We immediately are like, gee, who's the bad guy?
Yeah, this is him.
He's got a bowl cut. What else?
Yeah, he's got a bowl cut. He's got like a 70s, like huge lapels, like disco, like circles, and like a necklace. Like everything about him is just like, yeah, you're supposed to see this guy and just be instantly repulsed.
Yes.
It's 1997. I've just watched Boogie Nights. I know this guy is bad.
Mm-hmm. So Helmeppo grabs this girl's rice balls and he eats them and he spits them out. He says they're terrible. Did you put sugar in these? And she's like, yeah, I thought that'd make it nicer. It's like, you're supposed to do salt in there. Ugh. And he throws them on the ground and stomps on them. And he points out the sign that's right there that says anyone who aids the prisoner will be guilty of their same crimes. But she's too young for that. And she orders a guard to throw her over the wall.
Like DJ Jesse
literally, yeah. And then he talks to Zola. He's like, hey, you know the deal. If you last for a month, then you'll get to leave for free. So they leave. Then Luffy and Kobe go down to talk to him. Or maybe just Luffy. Luffy says, hey, I'm looking for some good men to assemble my pirate crew. And Zolo kind of scoffs at that. He's like, I will never be a pirate. I'm not going to lower myself to that. But Luffy's like, hey, I haven't even decided if I'm going to ask you yet. Zolo's like, I don't need your help anyways. I just need to last a month. I'll be fine. So Luffy starts to leave, and Zolo says, hey, before you go, can you pick up that rice ball and give it to me? And he's like, are you sure? It's on the ground. It's all like dirt and shit. But he eats it, and he says, tell that kid it was delicious, and that I ate it all. Maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. So this little girl gets very excited, says he's not a bad guy. Says that he got thrown in prison because he saved her from Helmeppo's dogs who were running loose around town. And then they see Helmeppo walking by. They overhear him saying they're going to execute Zolo in 3 days. He lied to him. Luffy is so mad, he punches Helmeppo in the face. Everyone's panicking because they're like, oh, shit, the Navy is going to get you. And he's like, that's it. I know he's a good guy. I'm going to ask Zolo to join. It's pretty, it's flowing. It's flowing. Chapter 4. This is really the first time we've directly continued a story from chapter to chapter now. The Great Captain Morgan is the name of this chapter. Everyone is in shock that Luffy has punched Helmeppo. Rika is this little girl with the rice balls. Her mom takes her inside, says, don't hang out with those people. You are going to get yourself killed. Then we see Captain Morgan, again, dude in the shadows at first, talking about how great he is. He's like, hey, he's talking to some lieutenant or something, saying, why are the tributes from the peasants getting smaller? And this guy's like, well, they're kind of getting poor now. And he's like, no. This is a question of respect. All right. I don't know if that's true. Helmeppo barges into the room and says, Daddy, I need you to go kill somebody for me. Which I do really like this Helmeppo as a character. Just a shithead son, I think, is always fun.
Yeah. He's a real Joffrey type where you're just like, this guy, I just hate him.
Yeah, and I love that Captain Morgan also hates him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not like my poor son. He's so put upon. He's like, no, this guy fucking sucks. And he's hurting my legacy, and I don't like it. But also, I'm an asshole too. So I like it.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was gonna be like, okay, maybe the dad is nice and the son is terrible or something like that. But no,
they
not at
both
all.
suck, but in
They
different
both
ways.
suck. Yes, they both suck a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Captain Morgan is more of an anime villain in that he's like ridiculously over the top.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Helmeppo wanted to throw this kid over the wall. Wait, what does he see what Captain Morgan says? All right. So Luffy goes to talk to Zolo here. He does ask him to join if he unties him, and Zolo says no. Luffy says, sorry, I've made up my mind. You're going to join my crew. And hey, I heard you're good at using a sword. But Helmeppo took all the swords. So he says, I'm going to recover your swords, and then you have to join my crew. Back with Helmeppo and Captain Morgan, Helmeppo's like, hey, Dad, why aren't you going after Luffy? Luffy hit me. Even you've never hit me before. And Captain Morgan says, well, that's because you are an idiot son who's not even worth hitting. But he does hit him while he says that, I think. And we finally see all of Captain Morgan. It's Captain Axe Hand Morgan. With a literal axe for a hand, a metal jaw with a big cigar sticking out. Vince, how cool did you think that was?
I thought it was pretty cool. I'm trying to think of like, there's some character I was like, he reminds me of somebody. He looks kind of like the Persona 5 manga, but the bottom like jawline that's a Venture Brothers character, isn't it?
Yeah, Baron Underbite or whatever.
There we go. That's the one. There we go. And I'm like, dude, that's probably like why you should probably give up the cigars. I'm sure that's what contributed to you losing your chin.
I don't think he's lost his chin. I think he's wearing a thing over his chin, is what it looked like to me. Like it's just a feature, like an extra thing.
I think he fell
wrong.
asleep in bed in his cigar.
With a cigar,
yeah. And then it burned and then he caught his beard and he burned his face, and he had to replace it with a metal jaw.
No, I think when he was newly had an axe for a hand, he went to rub his chin. Forgot that he now had an axe for a hand and cut it off.
Yeah, that checks out. Also, there's a lot going on here.
Could be a lot.
Maybe he dropped his cigar and then panicked and then slashed himself with it. All I know is that like later, like the chapter, I love when these manga books have like their artists be like their little cheeky reasons why they do stuff. It's like, so I designed Captain Morgan. I thought he looked pretty hard, and then my editor's like, you need to make him look harder. And so like there's like just like second or third pass on them, and I'm like, yeah, this definitely looks like design, redesign until you get to a metal jaw with a cigar and an axe hand, and I'm for it.
That's it. That's all you need.
His original design, he was more of a just sort of stereotypical, like high status, like Japanese looking guy, and whereas here he just looks like a complete crazy person.
So Captain Morgan tells his son to take some of the Marines, go find the little girl that snuck onto the grounds, and kill her. And the lieutenant of the Marines is like, I cannot obey such a cruel order. So Captain Morgan kills this lieutenant. Wow. Or just like that. Meanwhile, back at the entrance to this Marine headquarters here, Luffy doesn't see any guards there, says they all must be busy, and so he's gonna take this moment to sneak in. They're all erecting some statue to Captain Morgan right now, and he stretches his way up the tower, overshoots it, and kind of falls down on the other side, ends up taking the statue down with him, and just completely destroying it. Captain Morgan is livid, orders everyone to catch it. Helmeppo says, that's the kid who hit me. If you didn't listen to me and killed him, this wouldn't have happened. He grabs Helmeppo and he runs into the fortress holding on to him. Meanwhile, Kobe goes to untie Zolo, and the guards do see him from up there. And Morgan is just like, oh my God, so much defiance happening right now. Get everybody. This is unfair. And Kobe's talking to Zolo. He's like, I can't stand to see the Navy acting so improperly. They've imprisoned you unfairly. I'm going to set you free. And then Kobe gets shot. Oh my God. I did not see that coming, honestly. It felt very real in this very cartoony world here. Even though he did just kill someone with his axe hand. But that felt sillier than getting shot from afar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to skip over this scene. I don't know if it's just the translation or if it's just this blunt, but I love the part where the guards approach Luffy, who's dragging Helmeppo around through the like fortress. They're like, "Drop the captain's son, or we'll shoot." And Luffy says, "I don't want to."
I think that's in the next chapter, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's the beginning of the next chapter.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we'll just jump right straight into it here. It just keeps going. It's called The King of the Pirates and the Master Swordsman. And yeah, Luffy is like, I don't want to drop him. He just uses Helmeppo as a shield. And this is another moment. I got a little lost in the art here because I thought they were going to shoot at Helmeppo, who is like panicking. And then I see Helmeppo say, "Oh, I've been shot, but I'm not dead yet." Because the faces are drawn so similarly, but I didn't realize the scene had jumped to Kobe, who is now talking about how he's been shot. I'm like, oh, okay, yes, this makes sense. It took me a second. But Kobe is on the ground bleeding. Zolo says, "Hey, get up and run. You're not dead yet. Get out of here before they show up." Kobe's like, "I haven't even untied you yet. They're going to execute you in 3 days. That's why Luffy punched Helmeppo. You don't have to become a pirate, but you really should team with him to get out of here." And then the guards show up. Luffy, meanwhile, gets to the swords in Helmeppo's room. That's why he took Helmeppo with him. He was kind of using him to guide him to where to go. He sees 3 swords, doesn't know which one is the right one. And Helmeppo's passed out in his arm, can't ask him. And then he looks out the window and he sees Kobe and Zola out there about to get shot. And Captain Morgan's down there too now. Everyone's got guns pointed at them. And Zolo thinks to himself, I cannot die here. There's something I've got to do. He made a promise to someone. And we get a flashback. This is kind of what most of this issue ends up being here. This flashback to a young boy, Zolo, 2 Swords Zolo, they called him. And he got beaten in a sword fight by a girl. It was loss number 2000 against her. And, all the kids are saying, "Oh, he's the strongest at the dojo." But she is the sensei's granddaughter. So, and he vows that he's going to sail the seas to become the greatest sword master in the world. Later that night, he challenges her to a duel with real swords, and he still loses 2001 times now. And after this fight, she is crying because she's like, boys get stronger when they grow up. I'm not going to be able to compare to you. Dad says the girls can't be master swordsmen, and she's crying about it and wishing she was a boy. And Zolo's like, "It's really not about that. You're excellent. You've beaten me so many times. I'm just trying to live up to you." They make a promise that one day one of them will become the greatest swordsman, and one day they'll fight each other for the title. And I'm like, okay, that's a nice promise. I get that one day he's gonna try to meet her again. Tonal whiplash here. The next page, he learns that she fell down the stairs and died. And she's lying there with
I'm laughing.
Cloth over her eyes.
It goes very fast.
It's very fast and out of nowhere. So he decides he's got to keep the promise for both of them and asks the sensei for her sword, and he's got to become the world's greatest sword master.
With 3 swords.
With 3 swords now. He's 3 sword Zolo. Great. Back to the present. Luffy uses Gum Gum Rocket to blast his way over there and block the bullets so that nobody dies. He hands over all 3 swords because he didn't know which one was his, and this is when we learn he practices a 3-sword style, and he agrees to join him and become a pirate since he's already going against the government. Great. Yeah, that I did like that flashback for the most part. It was nice to get some backstory to this guy. Again, I thought it would have been more interesting to keep her alive so that maybe they could meet someday in the future. But
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe she faked her own death. We'll see.
Again, don't want to tell this guy how to write comics. Just didn't expect that. That's all. Chapter 6 is called Number 1. Why is it called Number 1? I don't remember why. Maybe we'll remember. Luffy is excited that Zolo's going to join. The Marines are all confused about these bullets bouncing off of him. And Morgan says, "All right, go at him with swords." So they all rush in. Luffy is very slowly untying Zolo. He gets one arm free, and Zolo's like, "Give me my swords, idiot." And he instantly just stops all the attackers with his 3 swords, kind of arranged and clashed up with everybody. And they're so in fear of him that he's like, "If anyone moves, I'm gonna fucking kill you." He gives Luffy the quick version of his backstory and his goals while he has them at bay. And Luffy's like, "That's fucking cool." And he attacks them all away. And he also is like, hey, if you like cause me to not be the greatest master, if we get like, if you cause me to fail, then you have to commit suicide. You have to commit harakiri. And he's like, all right, that's fine.
It seems like a fair deal.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is great. You're going to be the best swordsman. I'm going to be the best pirate. So
yep, it's perfect. These Marines are like, Captain, we can't fight a rubber man and that demon Roronoa Zolo at the same time. We just can't. And the captain's like, no, I can't stand a dejected crew. Orders them all to shoot themselves in the head. And I think they do. I think
a bunch of them do.
Like all Luffy and Zolo are like, what's going on over there? We gotta head over there. They start attacking the captain. We've got a nice long fight scene of Luffy versus Captain Morgan. The axe is very, very sharp. It like cuts down a whole big old part of the fence there. But Luffy is very nimble, jumping all over him. Then Helmeppo shows up and grabs Kobe. Says he'll shoot him if he doesn't stop. And Kobe is pretty brave in this scene. It's like, just let him kill me. You got to go after the captain. But Luffy uses his big old gum punch to take out Helmeppo. And Captain Morgan is standing right behind him. Oh no! But Zolo takes him out. Everything's okay. Hooray! And that's it for that. That issue was very quick. It was very filled with a lot of fight scene. Why was it called number 1?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, 3 swords. I don't know.
Maybe it was at the number 1. No, I don't know. Right.
The action is good, but it's antithetical to sort of the Western style of comics in that you have a character who like literally can't take damage. And people say like, oh, what about Superman? It's like Superman is constantly taking damage. Like if you look at what he fights, like he's never in a position like this where he's like, you just can't hurt me. Like I can do whatever I want to you and you can't stop me.
Well, although, blades could theoretically cut rubber, right?
I guess.
This rubber, not the devil fruit.
But he's not even worried, like when they shoot him with guns, maybe a first-time reader, maybe your 9-year-old is like, uh-oh, is he going to be shot? But he's like laughing, like bullets can't hurt me, and launches them back at people. So it's like, well, he's like impossibly overpowered already, and this is volume 1.
Yeah, maybe we do. Again, who knows? I haven't read further, but maybe we'll get a scene where he does show some vulnerability and
because
something.
A lot of like the Marvel heroes like start off like super cocky and then have to get taken down a peg, like your Thors and whatever.
Yeah, he needs to meet somebody else who's eaten a different devil fruit or something where it's like a fair fight. Like he's just already he's, and I think it's more, I have never read Journey to the West, but I think it's more of the like Monkey King kind of character. But I'm like, this is just weird to me that your protagonist is like completely invulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we are going to meet. We do get word of somebody else who's eaten the devil fruit here, so I imagine a devil fruit versus devil fruit battle might be something. I feel like we'll see, and then we'll learn something else.
But I also do love the power fantasy of like Punisher shows up and he says he's going to kill all these bad guys, and then he kills all the bad guys. There is something satisfying about like Luffy's going to show up, and ain't nobody going to do shit, and he's going to win, and I love it. I'm 9.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I mean, if you want just like cool stuff, like when Zolo is like, what the devil are you? And he just says, I'm a rubber man. And then he's just like posing with his hat down. It's just like, yeah, they're cool dudes.
Cool dudes. All right, so on to chapter 7 here. This is mostly a decompression-y kind of issue. All the Marines are free of Captain Morgan's terror. They're super happy. Zolo falls over because he is starving. They go to that little girl Rika's house where mom cooks them a meal. It's the least she could do after they save the whole town. And Luffy says, all right, next step is to head for the Grand Line. And Kobe's like, that is suicide. That's where only the most bloodthirsty pirates in the world are. But Zolo agrees. If they're going after the One Piece, they got to go through there. Kobe,
see, there's bloodthirsty pirates right there.
Yeah. And Kobe is not going with them. They're going their separate ways, but he is just worried about his friends. He's glad to have learned how to fight for what he believes in, but he wants to join the Navy now still. But he's worried the Navy is going to learn about his past as a pirate and that he can't enlist. Oh no. Then the Marines show up at this home and they're like, hey, y'all are pirates, right? Thanks for saving the town and all, but we also can't shelter pirates, so we have to ask you to leave. But to show our gratitude, we're not going to report you to the Navy, which seems pretty nice. So Luffy and Zolo are like, all right, we'll leave. They get up to go. And then the Marines are talking to Kobe, and they're like, aren't you going with them? Aren't you their friend? And he goes, I'm not a pirate. And Luffy starts to bring up Kobe's past, saying, well, there was that time on this ship. And Kobe's like, no, shut up about that. I don't want you to tell them that. And Luffy keeps going until Kobe gets so pissed he punches him, and Luffy punches him back, and they get into a little scuffle. And then this lieutenant here is like, all right, okay, you all are not friends. Get out of here. Stop disturbing the peace. You two get out of here. Kobe, you can stay. And Kobe's like, realizes afterwards, like, oh, that's what he did. Okay, cool. Very, very smart of him. Kobe begs this guy to join the Navy. And one of the other guys is like, hey, I think pirates sometimes put spies in the Navy. We should run a thorough background check. And Kobe is like, no, sweating bullets. He's like trying to show his passion. And the lieutenant says, we will accept you. And then as Luffy and Zolo sail off, all the sailors salute them. And Kobe's there to say goodbye. And the lieutenant is like, it is illegal for us to salute pirates, so none of us can have dinner for a week now. It's okay. And the caption says they're now sailing away for the Grand Line, but that they've made one big mistake. A nice quick chapter. Very, I'm glad we got this instead of just like now they're at sea and Zolo and Kobe isn't with them anymore. But not a ton happened there. On to chapter 8, Nami. Who's Nami? What's Nami? Luffy and Zolo.
This one feels like heartbreak. Like we're gonna carry over into the next volume here.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it's unclear why this is even in. Like, I would not put this issue in volume 1 if it was me.
Makes sense. Yeah, just ending with number 7 feels like the good spot.
Yeah, because that's the end of that arc, and the arc's been like the last 3 or 4 issues. It's a good breaking point, but they're like, no, we got another one coming.
We've got to trick these people into buying 102 more of these things. So
yeah, you give a little taste of what's coming next. And I did like this issue and the kind of setting up what's coming next year. Luffy and Zolo are sitting in the boat, drifting around. No navigator. They're starving. And they see a bird flying up there, so Luffy rockets himself up there to catch it. But it is a bigger bird than he thought, and it kind of puts Luffy's head in his mouth very cartoonishly, to where this bird is now just kind of flying around with Luffy hanging out of his head. Luffy then sees some shipwrecked survivors who he's trying to row super fast to catch Luffy. But he's like, I can't stop. You'll have to latch on if you want to climb in. And they get on. And then they introduce themselves and say, we're pirates who work for Buggy the Clown. Rawr, and they're gonna attack him. And then in the next panel, they are all beaten up, apologizing to Zolo, saying, we didn't realize who you were, sorry. And they're doing all the rowing for him. But now they've lost Luffy altogether. So Zolo asks them how they ended up there. And they had just finished raiding this small merchant ship. And they're looking through their treasure. And they see another little ship with a pretty girl passed out. And so they kind of go up to it. And she's delirious. She asks for some water. She's lost at sea. She says, hey, I'll offer you some gold if you can give me, just anything. And so they go to look in her treasure chest, and as they're doing that, she hops off the ship and steals their ship and runs off. Yeah. And she took all their treasure. Her treasure chest on her ship was empty. And then she's like, and a storm should be coming in right now, and it destroys her old ship. And she's happy. And Zolo was thinking to himself, hey, she'll make a great navigator if she knows the weather that well.
Oh shit, we need a navigator.
Yeah, that nerd we had is gone.
Yeah. And these pirates are saying that Buggy the Clown is going to be pissed if they return empty-handed. He is the most ferocious pirate in these parts. I almost flipped into a New Zealand accent. Ferocious. The most ferocious pirate in these parts. He ate the fruit of the devil. And we see a little bit of his ship here, which looks like a very circusy ship. It's got a fun house tent on it, an elephant figurehead. I'm very excited to see more pirate ships throughout the course of this book, because I think that's my favorite part.
This when he goes to this pirate ship, it's going to play the mini game, the Bombchu bowling, do
Mm-hmm.
do 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 style theme
Yep.
that Zelda had. This all these characters felt like again, because Zelda is the only I'm learning the only frame of reference I have for anime and manga characters. Like man, there's so many characters like this in Zelda,
They really are. They
like these
really are.
dumbass pirates.
And even like the art style, a lot of people remind me of, who's the merchant who's going around on his boat there?
Beetle.
Beetle.
Hey.
I
Beetle.
feel like I see a lot of people who look like Beetle.
Uh-huh.
That's all. So we see this girl again in this city where this ship is docked, and she is running through the city. She's got a map of the Grand Line, and the guards. There was like a bunch of pirates or whatever chasing after her because she stole it from Buggy the Clown. And then they see something kind of weird in the sky. It's Luffy and the bird's head, and they shoot it down with a cannon. They don't know what it is, and Luffy comes crashing down. He's not hurt. And this girl says, "Oh yeah, you came to rescue me, boss." And she runs away. And these pirates are like, "Hey, forget the girl. We've got her boss." Which again, very clever on this girl's part, but also real dumb of the pirates because she's the one with the map.
Yeah, right.
But it does leave Luffy just a little bit confused. They knock off his hat, and that pisses him off. Somebody important gave him that hat. And he fights back, knocking them all down. This girl is sitting on a nearby ledge and introduces herself as Nami. She specializes in robbing pirates. Want to team up? And that's where we end. Nice little cliffhanger.
Yep. Again, a character who's like, my thing is I hate pirates. I'll bet she'll never join Luffy's crew.
But you know, they're like technically pirates, but they're such not pirates, you know, and I think that's the draw. They're the pirates who aren't exactly like all the other pirates. They're the special pirates.
Yeah, they're just like cool dudes who just also have like a Jolly Roger, you know, like I mean, eventually I guess he'll get a Jolly Roger once he has like a real ship. But yes.
I mean, we do keep seeing pictures of what his flag is going to look like between these chapters here, even though he doesn't really have one yet. But that is One Piece. You know, Vince, I know you liked it. Why don't we start with you here?
I like this. I thought this was pretty light, aside from the tonal whiplash. I mean, it seems fun. I agree that like this character can't like. There's the character has no like pain threshold. Like I don't really like get his inner life, but I like him. Like it just seems like he's gonna roll into a town, solve somebody's problem, and then move on. It was a nice, easy breezy read. I'm not going to read all of it because that seems like an impossible task at this point. But I did get this collection with like 3 of the volumes. I'll definitely read the rest of this. This was a lot of fun. I'm happy we read it. Chris saying that like this reminds me of Wind Waker. And I'm like, I bet there was some parallel thought or some influential thought. And maybe if I read some of this manga stuff, I might get more of the Zelda stuff I like. Because I think like a lot of Final Fantasy and Zelda is based off of like Nausicaa, I think. So Castle in the Sky stuff. So I'm on board. That's not anime. That's Ghibli, right?
I was gonna say that's a movie I've seen, but I don't know if there's more.
But you know, like maybe I would like some of this stuff. But like I've avoided manga for so long. Aside from dipping my toes in Zelda manga and Persona manga, like this was a lot of fun. I'm happy to read more. I got to check out that Netflix series because I'm hearing good things. So it was just very nice and pleasant and had a good forward momentum that wanted me to read more. So I was very happy with it.
Cool. How about you, Chris?
I mean, I liked it fine. It's not, I don't think I'm really in the target demographic for it anymore. But and I already, I mentioned sort of the problem I have with Luffy sort of as the comic protagonist, and that superhero comics don't work this way. Like he's never like, I don't know if I can do this. And it's kind of like what that's kind of like what, ever since Marvel came around. I mean, I guess DC Comics back in like the 40s and 50s, Superman was just like, how can I gaslight my girlfriend? But, like literally, since Spider-Man existed, I feel like all superheroes have been like, I don't know if I can do this. Whereas Luffy never has those thoughts. Like he always knows he's going to win. He knows he's the protagonist of this manga, and he's the central character of the world. And he's right. So, but yeah, it's a very light, fun read. I was a little daunted when I saw how long it was, but it like flew by. Like it's a very quick read. And yeah, it's fun enough. It's, there's a couple of funny jokes. I smirked at a couple of things, like when he thought that the bird was going to be small, and so he's like, rocket me up there and I'll just grab the bird and come down, and then by the time he's up there the bird is bigger than him. I'm like, that's a good joke. Like that's just a quality, like not being sure of your perspective. And then I think this, and it's the secret to a lot of manga is that I think there is a lot of like classic Disney like bits as far as the comedy, like Scrooge McDuck style, but in the Disney, not like modern Disney. But yeah, I think it's fun. Am I going to read more of it? Probably not. But it's not like I'm going to say like, oh, it's bad. Like, no, it's pretty good. It's just not really for me.
I can't see myself like reading more of this on my own. I am like curious to read more though. I might pitch it for our next long read, and we'll never stop.
Oh, just one chapter.
One chapter a week.
They make more chapters than we make episodes a year.
Oh yeah, because they go weekly, and we're gonna go every other week, so we'll never finish. Shit.
We'll never gain.
Okay, never mind. We'll never gain. No, I enjoyed it. It was. I mean, again, I don't think I have anything new to say past what y'all have said. It was fun and breezy, and yeah, it was an enjoyable ride. I do recommend checking it out if you're curious about this whole One Piece thing. I don't think you'll be too disappointed. I think it's kind of what you would expect from something like that. Go ahead.
And I will say my last thing I'd say is my 4-year-old was looking around with me. There's chapter 5 cover where he's drinking tropical alcoholic drinks with a dolphin.
Yeah.
She was all in it. I was like, why is that dolphin drinking tropical drinks? She was into that. So, and then
that was a really good image. Yeah.
He never does. I don't think there may be a dolphin in the issue, but
yeah. A lot of these kind of chapter covers are just quick little pictures of stuff that don't have anything to do with everything. But that one in particular stood out. It was very joyous.
Yeah, I do like all of those, just like single panel, jokes or whatever. I thought those were mostly fun. The how to draw a flag was probably the worst one, where I was like, I don't care about this. I'm not going to do that.
You get your paper out.
Yeah, I don't have a notebook I need to doodle a flag on.
It did bother me that the how to draw a Jolly Roger was like, and then you can put Luffy's hat on it. I was like, no, I would have had to do that at the beginning. That should have been the first step.
Again, this guy. This dude's young, though, by the way. Like, I looked up, he's born in 75. He's, what, 48?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it said his favorite game was Puyo Puyo, which I got Puyo Puyo Tetris 1 and 2, and every time I get to the Puyo Puyo parts, I'm like, oh, God, I don't like these.
This One Piece guy is wrong.
Yeah.
Oda is wrong on this, yeah.
Tetris is the good one. I like Tetris. I can do the levels in my sleep, and they're like, score 150,000 points on Puyo Puyo, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me.
I can't figure out combos like that. I can't think ahead.
Yeah, it's not intuitive to me the way Tetris spins are.
Yeah. But I think that's all we have to say about Puyo Puyo and all we have to say about One Piece. No, we'll do a whole Puyo Puyo episode in the future. I'm sure we got more to say.
I'm sure there's a Puyo Puyo manga we can find.
There actually probably is.
Yeah, I was going to say the games have the most crazy manga-y plot.
They have
ever.
Recurring characters that have carried over for the last 20 years. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's like all these high school characters who are like, I challenge you to Puyo Puyo. And there's like 17 of them. It's insanity.
I looked up Puyo Puyo manga. It's an app published by Sega for viewing a manga based on Puyo Puyo.
Oh, a whole app just for that?
And it's exclusive to Japan.
No, we'll get a VPN for your phone.
Download this app. Get a translator.
Yeah.
All right.
Just to learn the names of these 18 characters. There's the cool main girl. Then there's like 5 of her friends. Then there's like 5 of her rivals.
There's probably an animal.
Oh yeah, there's a guy who only talks in like animal noises. And then there's the Tetris crew, which I assume show up in that manga as well, which is a spaceship captain and his crew. It's so insane.
Wow. But it is time for us to move on to our long read here. We
Yeah,
are moving.
let's move on to something that makes sense. Earth X.
Earth X. Well, so we mentioned all right, let's talk about the premise again here because we didn't get any of it last time. We're in the future. I think that's really all we know right now. We're like 20. How long in the future? We still don't know exactly. It's got to be like 20 years here. Uatu, the Watcher, has brought X-51, the robot, the android, onto the moon because Uatu is blind. He needs X-51 to see what's going on there. And we start with a few big splash pages of more Captain America history that didn't make any sense to me until I realized that I was still reading right to left. After reading One Piece, so I was like, okay, hold on. But even then, it still didn't matter. So then he's like, all right, X-51, let's look at the present now. We see the Inhumans coming back to Earth on their ship for the first time in a long time. They're wondering if people will be suspicious that they're coming back now. And they're like,
no one on Earth cares about the Inhumans.
No one on Earth cares. And they're like, we've got a cover story anyways. They don't call it their cover story. It's like they're like, why would they be suspicious? Our Luna is getting married to our son, the prince, who is still like stationed on Earth or something. So they start by going to their old city, the Hidden Land, and it's fucked up. There's nobody there. Luna asks where the prince is. And Triton's like, you already know nobody lives here anymore. It was like part of your dad's plan for something. And Karnak is like, hey, don't talk shit about the dad's plan. That's Black Bolt you're talking about. Medusa is saying like her son would be a hero here. They have to go to where the heroes are, New York City. So they head over there, but everyone's like a hero or a mutant. There's no like regular humans, no normal people. And Luna asks, hey, when do we get to meet the prince? She's very single-minded. And like, soon, Luna, we got to find out what happened to all the humans here now. And then we see Captain America. He is older and bald, and he is fighting alongside Redwing, who is named Wyatt. Who was he always Redwing? Do we know Redwing before?
Redwing is Falcon's little bird, right?
Right. So this is a new character.
Well, it's a new hero. It's an old character because it's Wyatt Wingfoot, Johnny Storm's Native American friend.
That's who it is. I was like, I know I've heard the name Wyatt.
Not Wyatt. What's his name? Not Wyatt, U.S. Agent. Was that what his name was? No, no? Wyatt Russell is the actor who plays U.S. Agent. Okay,
John
that's where
Walker
I was like, okay, this guy is that guy. He's U.S. Agent. I got totally confused. Yeah, and then I was like, Redwing is the little robot or bird friend of Falcon. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah. Well, we quickly find out because Wyatt's like, you may look like her, but you're not She-Hulk or you're not Jennifer or whatever. Because the Hydra Queen has basically done Starro the Starfish from DC to a bunch of heroes and made them part of like an alien hive mind.
Yes. Let's back up a second. They are fighting a literal Hydra. A lot of people in this future world seem to have turned into literal versions of themselves. And the Hydra has become a Hydra. And it's absorbed a bunch of people. They're kind of like, oh, we can still save them, that kind of stuff.
Does Captain America have an A scratched into his head?
Does he? I think
it looks like it.
Interesting.
It's an odd choice.
I didn't even notice.
I don't like he looks like he's got like the kind of like the Statue of Liberty outfit, but
right, it's like a toga. It's like a Captain America. It doesn't seem good for battle.
It's stupid.
But they're like, hey, Stark told us we got to hit it hard and fast. And the Hydra is like trying to appeal to them by talking as She-Hulk. And Steve's like, I'm not going to lose another partner, not after Falcon. And Falcon's in the Hydra. He starts talking to Steve, telling him it's peaceful here, no more war. Isn't that what you wanted, Steve? That kind of stuff. Join us. And then in a separate spot, we see this like little kid being tried, like they're trying to join him to the Hydra as well. And a balding old Cyclops shows up in street clothes to free him.
Hell yeah!
He tries to take the kid's hand after frees him, and the kid breathes fire at Cyclops and runs away. He's like, "Damn, is that how I was with you, Professor X? I don't know." The scene jumps elsewhere again. X-51 says he can't get used to it. And Peter Parker, chubby with white hair on the sides of his head, like Reed Richards.
A cop. Boo.
He's a cop.
No, the cops. I thought the cops want to recruit him into their ranks, but he's like a cab, y'all.
He is a cop, though. He just doesn't even want to help.
What? He's a cop? I don't remember that.
Is he not a cop yet?
Maybe he's not a cop yet.
Because I know he is.
Because the cop points at him like, "Why aren't you helping us?" And he's like,
Luke Cage.
Yeah, it's Sergeant Cage, which it took me a bit. Like, oh yeah, it's Luke Cage.
I'm zooming in now. Okay.
You don't got to zoom in. He's got chains around his waist to tell you.
So Luke Cage is a cop. So boo.
All Cage are bad.
Oh gee, is that how that goes?
Yeah.
He's yelling for Peter Parker for Spider-Man. And says we're minutes away from Purge. We could use Spider-Man on the Force. He's like, I'm not interested. But we do see another Spider-Man kind of perched up above with like a black design with a red kind of look.
Like a sexier Spider-Man.
Oh, I was going to say like a virtual boy Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very sexy. Then we go back to the Hydra Queen. She is continuing to feed propaganda to Captain America to get him to join. He's super close. But Red Wing saves him, and Cap is just like super conflicted about everything. He's real depressed. Red Wing's like, "Hey, don't let what Hydra was telling you get to you." But now they're in the middle of one of Tony Stark's purges, and they got to move
because
a bunch of robots. Yeah,
I didn't realize that was in the MCU, but okay.
Yeah. It's a bunch of robots coming through, blasting lasers at everything, and there's a version of all the old Avengers. There's a Hawkeye robot, Vision, Giant Man, Wasp, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver, and they're called the Iron Avengers. And then they talk to old man Tony Stark on their little communicator watches. He's bearded and like plugged into like a machine with stuff on his head, everything. And he's talking to Red Wing, says, any problems? And Red Wing's like, just the usual ones, referring to Steve's regular depression, it seems. And he's like, your buddy President Osborn isn't making it any easier on him.
Oh, President Osborn. Oh, no. What would happen
no.
if an 80s corporate stooge became president? That'd be awful.
That'd be awful.
For the 90s, 20 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do like, was it X-51 or I think it was X-51 who's like, isn't he dead?
Not in 99 though, when this is out. I think he's back from the dead.
I think that's the joke is he's just been brought back like in the last couple of years after being dead for like 25 years.
Yes, we get a lot more of X-51 and Uatu talking than I thought we were going to.
Especially after this issue ends.
Well, yeah, I thought we were close to the end. I was like flipping through. I was like, oh, only 5 more pages. Great, I'll have plenty of time. And I did not have plenty of time. So they're Cap and Red Wing are walking away. Not Red Wing.
Yeah, it's Red Wing.
Red Wing, yeah. Cap is depressed that nothing has changed. Nothing's gotten better. Wasp flies over to try and cheer him up. Like, hey, Steve. Steve's just like, it's not you, Janet. It's him. And she flies back to the Iron Avengers, and Hank is like, you tried, honey. That's all anyone can ask.
Meanwhile, Steve is like, I knew the real Janet, and you're not the real Janet. She's even dumber than this.
And Steve is like, you know what? Stark can't change what happened to the Avengers. Death should mean something. So I guess they all died. Also, at some point during that fight, he ripped off like some insignia from the Hydra people's clothes. And Red Wing's like, what is that? It looks like the Punisher's insignia. And Steve's like, it's red. The Red Skull. Dun, dun, dun. That's kind of the end of the issue. But now there's a big appendix, which is not just art and sketches of character designs, but there is a big conversation between Uatu and X-51, just kind of talking about this and talking about some other stuff. And it starts with X-51 going like, damn, I've met Spider-Man. How can he not be doing anything? And how could Cap change so much? Like, what's going on here? And a lot of Uatu being like, hey, you just got to see all of time. They don't exist in just moments. You gotta take it all in. And they talk about President Osborn and all that stuff being dead.
But now we've abandoned the red, white, and blue, and America only worships the green.
Whoa.
Money. Whoa, that's deep, Jim Gruber and Alex Ross. That's deep,
So
man.
so deep.
I mean, it doesn't feel like that different like 20 years ago. That like we're living in a failed state where capitalism has run amok and exploits poor people. For the spice must flow, and I'm like, okay, well, cool.
And like Captain America died and then came back, and everybody else died and came back because they're part of a multi-billion-dollar empire, and they're not allowed to die because it would cost some stockholder money somewhere.
Oh no.
What else do we learn about? Nick Fury has a bunch of his life model decoys all over the place.
But they're called the Furies, and if that's not like a Greek chorus thing, what are the Furies or something in Greek mythology, right, Chris? You're well read.
Yeah, I remember in Sandman there or something. They're not good.
Yeah, I always remember. I don't remember. Never mind. I don't always remember. What else did we learn about? The original Human Torch, the android, is no longer active. I don't really remember him being very active very much. Sharon Carter are enemies now. Why are they enemies?
She's part of Hydra.
Yeah, she's in the hive mind. Yeah.
Black Panther is king of Wakanda, and he has the cosmic cube because he's the only one that Captain America could trust to give it to. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we'll see more next time. Still not super sold on it, but it was better than the first one.
I think at this point I was out. You had given me like a whole stack of Earth X gear, like probably like 0405, and like I read the first issue. I'm like, I'm not following this. There's a lot of Inhumans. I'm not on board. The second one's like, I don't like Captain America's design. Okay, I'm kind of out. But now I'm looking at the cover of issue 2 with a bunch of little thing workers wearing overalls and backwards baseball caps, and I'm kind of back on board.
Ooh, I think those are his kids. Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm back on board.
Those designs on Thing's kids with the overall is excellent. I love it a lot.
Yeah, I do like Uatu and X51 expected you, Vince, where they're like, why is everything so different? It's crazy. Like that's what X51 says to everything. I'm like, yeah, man. I agree.
It's the future, dude.
This is not what I would have done. It's
agree. A lot of not what I would have done throughout this. But
why is everything literally the thing that they are now?
I don't know.
But Black Panther's not a fucking panther when we see him.
I bet he will be. I don't even remember.
He's taken the beasts. Like Dr. Henry McCoy gave me a serum or whatever. And you're like, of course.
He's got real claws, I bet. Spoiler alert for a 24-year-old comic that y'all probably have read and we haven't.
We'll see if this thing gets better. We'll see if we can remember why I even like this thing. Maybe we'll give up halfway through if it's still terrible. We'll
pull a J. Michael Straczynski on Superman and Wonder Woman and just cut it short.
We're done.
We'll just do the first 4 issues of his walking around story that he didn't finish instead.
That would be our punishment. If we do abandon this, we have to read it. The J. Michael Straczynski Superman.
Grounded.
All right.
12-part series he wrote like 7 issues of and quit.
I think he was volun quit, but
maybe that would be a good April Fool's Day thing next year.
That's on the list. Yes, I actually liked Grounded, but that's me.
All right then.
Right.
Well, so next time we will jump to Earth X number 2, and then our main read for the next time. We're recording this on October 1st. It's straight up. I gotta pay rent. It's straight up spooky season. We're going into some spookier comics here. We had last year around this time we read Harrow County Volume 1.
3 years ago.
What?
Yeah. Time is a flat. Yes, it is.
No.
I couldn't go into my fucking library to get it. I had to have them do car delivery to me because nobody was allowed in the library during the pandemic. That's how deep it was.
Oh, I see. I thought you had a personal library that has gotten so big that you locked it away somewhere and you needed to call an assistant to bring it.
His Alfred figure who just goes and gets comics.
My personal librarian, yes, that's what I chose. Of all the individuals I could hire, a personal shopper, a personal assistant, no, I need a personal librarian to go pick up my Harrow County.
Yeah, a live-in babysitter or something. No, don't need that.
Yeah. So we are finally moving on to Harrow County Volume 2. I thought it was very good to remember Volume 1, but maybe not if it was 3 years ago. It's only 4 issues 5 through 8, written by Cullen Bunn. Wait, who did the art on this?
I want to say Tyler Durden, but it's Tyler something. Not
Yeah, the fictional character from Fight Club drew this comic.
Yeah,
Tyler Crook, I think. I'm saying.
There you go. I think that's right.
That's better.
So we'll dip our toes back into that world with some spooky stuff, and yeah. What else is going on here, Chris? What does the Your Stupid Minds podcast have going on?
Your Stupid Minds just recently. What did we just recently have?
Return to Oz.
Yes, Return to Oz is our most recent episode, which is a lot of fun.
It's a great movie.
I thought that was supposed to be good.
We liked it. It's just it's considered a weird, and it was a huge flop. So
I saw like, oh, there's a Wizard of Oz sequel, and then I saw like images. I'm like, no, not gonna watch that. That's not what I was expecting.
Yep.
Listen, I don't watch many movies, and I really don't rewatch many movies. I've seen this movie like 3 times. I love it.
Is it still on Disney Plus?
Yeah, that's how we watched it. It's fun. It's your 4-year-old probably shouldn't watch it because it is kind of scary, but your 9-year-old might like it.
My dad still is terrified of the Flying Monkey. Still hasn't watched all of Wizard of Oz.
I guess that can be traumatizing, the original, but I don't think of it as that scary. This has some just really messed up stuff that I think is just designed to traumatize children. There's a woman who keeps a bunch of heads behind glass and puts on a different head every day, and then is like, "You're going to grow into a good head one day. I'm going to lock you up and let you until you get older, so I can use your head." So that's something that children never knew that they could be scared about, a strange woman stealing their head off their body. And then later, don't worry, you do see her headless body blundering around trying to find her. So
I want to see
the movie. It also starts in the real world with a little girl being sent to shock therapy.
Yes, they are going to lobotomize Dorothy because she won't shut up about Oz.
It's Fairuza Balk, right? From like baby Fairuza Balk before like Waterboy and The Craft.
Yes, the villain from The Craft when she's like 10 years old or something like that. Which Dorothy in the original was like a 16 or 17-year-old actress, so she's de-aged to be more like the Bucks. But anyway, it's a weird movie. Also coming out, I think a few days after this comes out, we should have another episode, and we're going to be entering spooky season as well because it will be October by then. And so I think we're talking about doing Nightmares, the 1983 anthology series of no real acclaim, but there's 80s video game stuff in it, so that should be very fun. And the guy playing the 80s video game, none other than Gordon Bombay himself,
Emilio
Estevez.
I love it. Oh, also Meg 2. Y'all covered Meg recently. Meg 2 is now on Max as of this last week.
Oh, well, now we can watch that, although I don't have any real interest in doing that. That's what's new with me. Also, I've been playing a bunch of F-Zero 99. I recommend that game. It's very fun.
I'm going to try that. Vince, what's going on with you?
Not been doing much. I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 1. Spoiler alert, I really like it. And then I've been playing Picross X Pickbits versus Ouzboros. It's a WarioWare style Picross game.
What?
It's like all 5x5 puzzles, but they do like massive modifiers where you have to do like a race instead of put the stuff on there. Or like there's little paw prints covering up your board all the time. And you're supposed to like do every puzzle within like 6 seconds. It's a lot of fun. But if you want to rush with your Picross, Pickbits versus Ouzboros is quite the game.
I kind of want that.
Yeah.
I have been doing a lot of. I haven't been playing many video games. I've been like just burnt out and tired all the time, so I've just been playing logic puzzles on my phone, and that's kind of it. Yeah.
I need to play that Kakarot you recommended. I've still been looking at that.
There's been other games whose names I don't even remember that are like, I didn't know a logic puzzle like this existed. What is this even? And you learn the rules and you go, okay. And then you learn the tricks and you're like, okay. And then you get to hard stuff and you're like, I got to learn new tricks. That's logic puzzles. That's logic puzzles.
Very logical.
That's it, folks. I think that's what we're ending on, talking about logic puzzles.
This was a very nerdy episode. We started with manga and ended with logic puzzles, but you kept to follow us,
as opposed to all the other episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's we'll talk about sports next episode.
Yeah,
Who do you think's gonna win the NBA championship?
Oh, I love that NBA championship. Well, folks, thanks so much for listening. Vince, I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Chris, I love you.
Leave this podcast.
Fuck. And listener, we love you as well. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.